Good morning and welcome to the Rhino Conspiracy. I am your host, Scott Rhino. We're live right here on YouTube. If you haven't already done it, please like and subscribe to our video right here on the YouTube channel, Xtra 1063. We're going to have some fun today, and we're going to do some things, and we're going to talk about a few things. But first, I want to make sure that you follow me on all of our Twitter handles. Of course, at Xtra, XTRA 1063 on Twitter, also on Getter, also on Facebook, everywhere you look. Also, you can find at Rhino, RHINO, XTRA 1063 at Twitter, at Facebook, at Instagram as well. We're going to talk a little bit about making what we call a national divorce. Now, a lot of people will think this is the start of a civil war based on some comments that Marjorie Taylor Greene has made when it came to her Twitter. So we're going to talk about that as well. I also want to introduce you to our chat box right here. You can see your comments will come up on our chat box. So if you have something to say, if you want to talk to me as well during this, as you can see, there's a little welcome up there. When you post, they'll come up there and I'll be able to respond to them as well. So feel free to interact at any time with the Rhino Conspiracy. So that is our chat box. Next, let's look at what Marjorie Taylor Greene said that made everybody a little upset. I'm going to go ahead and show you this tweet. Here we go. This is Marjorie Taylor Greene. What she said is, "We need a national divorce. We need to separate by red states and blue states and shrink the federal government. Everyone I talk to says this. From the sick and disgusted woke culture issues shoved down our throats to the Democrats' traitorous American last policies, we are done." These are the things that we are talking about today. And I know that people want to think, hey, this is all about one thing and one thing only, starting a civil war. No, that's not what this is. What this is the start to making something happen, something that we can all agree on, that we need to stop these woke policies that are happening all over our country. I have a plan for this. I really do. And let's talk about this, because what Marjorie Taylor Greene says is absolutely correct. First of all, we're founded by different states and their constitutions. We all live differently. Now, the Democrats will tell you, everyone is blue. Look at all the votes that came in for Joe Biden in 2020. This is a blue country. It's not a blue country. People in New York tend to forget about us and how we live here in the state of Georgia. See, I have not forgotten that. I'm from New York originally. We're going to talk a little bit about New York as well coming up, because Ron DeSantis pretty much made his campaign for 2024 really on a national level by going into New York and talking about crime. So we will talk about that as well. But I already decided that I was ready for a national divorce from Democratic policies. Now, first of all, I moved down to Georgia when I was about 18 years old, turning 19. And I moved for a good reason. I didn't like New York. I didn't like the woke policies they had back then. And that was back in the 90s, early 90s, probably 93, when I decided I couldn't live in this state anymore. I can't deal with your ridiculous taxes. I can't deal with the regulations of you're not allowed to have a 64-ounce soda. It's bad for your health. By the way, make sure if you want to go to the park to get healthy, you pay your leisure fees, your leisure passes. Make sure that if you want to go to the beach and be healthy, that you pay to go. It just makes no sense to me. They want to charge us for being healthy. I don't see that as a really good way to live my life. Let's be honest. Now, Marjorie Taylor Greene, of course, everything she says is going to be taken out of context. But what about a national divorce? What if we did live in an area? Now, a lot of people are saying, okay, we take the Mason-Dixon line, blah, blah, blah. No, I'm going to go even further than that. Give us this country back. Give us the country that was founded with a First Amendment right and a Second Amendment right. The two most important amendments to any constitution. Why? Well, number one, freedom of speech. Why is that so important? Well, it's the first time in history a government was set up in order to give the power to we the people. And because of that, we were given the ability to speak out against our government, especially when they have some kind of overreach over us or tyrannical behavior. And that's what we're seeing today more than ever with the Biden administration. We are seeing the rhetoric, the wokeness, and the tyranny that we've been afraid of. And what was the first thing they tried to do? The first thing they tried to do is take God out of our country. Well, that's something that we really want to live based on, the morality of God and the Bible. Yeah, we are religious people. And so are a lot of other people. And I know now that there's such this big woke left of agnostic and atheists. Well, they don't exactly live. Look at it. It's a mess. They don't live their life by morals. They don't care about mental illness. They don't care about children that are 13 and 14 dying on our streets. We're tired of it. We're tired of the lack of police. We're tired of the lack of strength that this country continues to show. It's a good reason to be concerned. Think about what the right really wants. And people like Marjorie Taylor Greene. We don't want our children's bodies mutilated without our permission, without even talking to their parents first, with teachers making decisions on what's best for our children. We don't want it. That's not what we want. In fact, Sarah Huckabee Sanders put together a great educational plan in Arkansas, one that hopefully every state will look at and say, this is a great idea. This is a great plan. It is conservative, but it puts parents in charge of their teachers. What's wrong with that? Well, blue states don't want that, then go. I'm not saying let's divide us or divorce us based on a Mason-Dixon line. What I'm saying is there's always a way to get out of this. There's always a country that's more socialist than we are. They happen to be our northern border, our northern partner, our northern friend, Canada. Justin Trudeau. There's a man who wants to be able to freeze your bank accounts if you speak out against their government. It's exactly what he did during the big trucker convoy, wasn't it? He froze their bank accounts. What else did he do? He weaponized insurance companies to cancel the insurance of truckers, people who are the lifeblood of the economy, not only in the U.S., but in Canada as well. He also tried to take away the guns, take away religion. He continues to do things that are very woke and very socialist. If you like it, move to Canada. You have an option. I'm sure they'll let you in. They don't care. Go up there. You can live your happy socialist life in Canada. Now, I know you don't want to give up Oregon. You don't want to give up California. You don't want to give up New York. That's your power. The other thing that Democrats will say was, oh, well, red states, if we went through a national divorce, red states would never survive. Are you serious? Why would red states never survive? We make the money. Georgia's the number one state to do business in. Our number one industry is agriculture. We actually export more in Georgia than we bring in. We export our goods, American goods, Georgia-grown goods. We export more. That is on a level where the national level. We heard Joe Biden talk during the State of the Union. What did he say to us? He said that he wanted to make sure we're exporting American products, not American jobs. And that he is in charge of doing that, and yet he hasn't. We are still importing more than we're exporting, except for in a red state like Georgia. Oh, I know what the detractors are saying. I've seen it all over Twitter. Oh, Georgia's a blue state. Georgia is not a blue state. Don't believe that. Georgia has a blue city in Atlanta. It most certainly is blue. That's where the highest crime is. That's how we can tell. That's where the taxes are the highest. That's how we can tell. That's where we have problems with voting. That's how we tell that is a blue city. The rest of the state is as red as it can be. And when you look at the midterm elections, you'll see it was one Senate seat that turned blue. Stacey Abrams thrown out of Georgia in a record defeat to the point where she's reeling. I know she knows what to do with your money better than you do, except, well, she can't pay her vendors, and now she's facing a $500,000 ethics complaint with money that has gone missing. This is the Democratic Party. We're not afraid to lose you. We're not afraid to divorce you. Our country would be better off without you. Why? Well, we'd focus on certain things, like life is important. See, think about that. That's all we're saying. Life is important. We should not be able to kill life, to take away children, to kill children. Is that a really bad thing to say? Nah, but the left can't go with that. Oh, what about educating our children, making sure we're involved? When I was growing up, The one thing teachers asked, my parents and other parents, was to be supportive. Be supportive in the education. When we come home, make sure we're doing our homework. Make sure we're reading. Make sure we're educated. There's nothing wrong with that. Oh, except the left thinks you have no reason to be involved in your child's life and education. And when I say life, yeah, that's right. We're talking about transitioning. We're talking about things like this in this country. We're not talking about the things that affect us, like the price of eggs, like the price of gas, like the price of Jan 20. Jan 20 is the day we signed away our energy independence. Hashtag Jan 20. Put it out there. We want to get away from this wokeness. We want to make sure that everybody in this country, again, everyone in this country is taken care of before other countries, before other people. We're not breaking it down by race. We're not breaking it down by religion. We're not breaking it down based on who you have sex with. We're breaking it down based on the fact that America and Americans come first. I don't understand what's wrong with that. What's wrong with the thought of us coming first, Americans? I don't care if you're black. I don't care if you're white, Jewish like myself, Hispanic, if you're gay, straight, whatever. I want you to be protected just in case something crazy happens, like, I don't know, a Chinese balloon flies over and looks at all our vital information. Even though we'll distract and say, oh, it was just a weather balloon. No, we have a big problem. This administration that promised transparency has been one of the least transparent and has completely lied to us on every occasion they can. I think she's right. We are ready for a national divorce. Like I said, Canada's open. Go ahead. Live under socialist rule. Live under a government that will lock you in place, lock you in your homes, take your money, freeze your bank accounts, tell you that they know what to do better with your money than you do, that they'll take care of other people's families outside of this country before they'll take care of yours. I'm ready for it. I would love to have this. And if you want to keep parts of the United States, you can have Seattle. You can have Oregon. I'd like to keep California. Why not? It's a beautiful state. It would be so well run with Republicans running that state. You can keep New York. That's close enough to Canada. I'm done with New York. New York is a garbage den. That is a blue state and a blue city, and look at them. Look at the numbers that we can look around the world. The top 5 states, when it comes to being in debt, happen all be Democratic-run states. New York, New Jersey, Massachusetts, Illinois, and California. Not Florida, not Georgia, not Texas, not places that people are leaving like New York, like New Jersey, like California to go to a red state. Why? Because they know business is better. And let's be honest. I know the Democrats are saying, oh, red states couldn't survive without our money. No, that's the opposite. You cannot survive without our taxpayer dollars because that's what you're spending. You don't have money. No, you're taxing corporations to the point where they're eliminating jobs. They're not paying more in taxes. You're not paying more in taxes. If you're so concerned, why aren't you paying more in taxes to take care of the things you want? We don't need trails or earmarks or pork that Democrats put in these bills. That's why our deficit is where it is. They want to continue raising our debt ceiling until we have no money, until somebody calls, like China, with their Chinese balloons as they fly around our country measuring for drapes so they can move in as quick as possible. You think by adding to the debt ceiling, we're making this country better? No, we're not. And let's be honest. You want to take away our guns? Because again, like I said, the only way to protect freedom of thought or a nation of people the way we were set up and a First Amendment right, where for the first time in history, people were given the opportunity to speak out against their government, to have free thought about the way the government rules, is to protect it with a Second Amendment right. I know you want to eliminate that. Go to Canada, where Justin Trudeau tells everybody you don't need guns. Not for hunting or any other reason. You don't need a gun. He is so off base on that. They're not going to take away our rights here as well. Let's talk about Ron DeSantis next. Because Ron DeSantis went into New York. Again, this is the 2024 campaign. I love what he's doing. Where's he going? To these blue cities that are so out of control we need a divorce from? Absolutely. Why? New York. I'm just going to use New York, but I think California and Illinois all fall into this, especially in the cities. But look at some of the dirtiest cities in the world. Where are they? When it comes to contributing greenhouse gases, number one, California. California. They're the dirtiest state in the entire United States. New York's not far behind them. But look what happens in New York. Ron DeSantis goes in and Mayor Adams, oh, you don't understand New York values. You don't understand. I do. I 100% understand them. So let me explain what happened when I decided to leave this, bastion of wokeness that it has become. It's always been this way. New York is the most segregated state in the Union. They are so segregated, they have Harlem for one group, Spanish Harlem for another group. Riverside, that's where a lot of the Jewish elderly live before they moved to Florida and realized they don't have enough money to live in New York anymore, so they got to get out. There's others. Have you heard of Chinatown? Yep, absolutely. There's Jamaica, Queens, completely different than other areas. Everybody is segregated into their own little ghettos. That's what they're called. I know that you automatically assume that ghetto is bad. That's not what it is. Ghettos are where like-minded people tend to just begin to survive, begin to live, and that's what it is set up. When you look at New York, look at the crime level. You know they have strict gun laws, so does California, yet we hear about mass shootings every single day in these states. They're lying to us. It's time to divorce them. Look at the debt that they're incurring. California has the highest debt in the nation. In fact, they don't even know how they're going to budget for 2023, 2024 because they're so in debt. Not Georgia. We have so much money, we're giving the money back to the taxpayers where it belongs. They're taking your money, they're spending it on Ukraine, but they're not fixing the homelessness problems in California and New York. It's time for a divorce. It's time to send you packing. Stop living off of us. This country was made so that we'd all have freedom of thought. I live in Hiawassee, which is as close to North Carolina as you possibly can get. Stealing a phrase from Sarah Palin, I could see North Carolina from my house. I moved here because I was tired of the city. I'm tired of the zoning and the regulations. On my property here, I can live off of my water. If I want to put solar panels up, I can live off of that. I can live off my land. I can garden. I could do whatever I want. I could build a restaurant right here, and no one can stop me because there is no zoning because I have freedom. Some of us have already found this. Some of us have found we need AR-15s because we have 50 Russian hogs rushing down the mountain, eating calves, eating livestock, eating the food that we're supplying for you, the blue people who live in Atlanta who have no idea except maybe Publix, Whole Foods, and other areas. That's where food comes from. No, it comes from us. It comes from us protecting our crops from predators, protecting our livestock from predators. I have a Second Amendment right. I could just walk outside right now, turn this camera, and just start firing my gun wherever I wanted. No one would say a thing. That's what's great about freedom. That's what's great about this country. Now, I want to go back to New York because I think what DeSantis said was spot on. We are not doing the job for the people. And politicians are not doing the job for the people. They're distracting with lies. They're taking your money. There's no accountability for the hundreds of billions of dollars that was sent to Ukraine. Meanwhile, people in Ohio are struggling to breathe, struggling to drink water. Why? Because we're only going to offer them $1 million for an entire city. $1 million. Think about that number. Where does $1 million go? They spend $1 million on one hammer that you can buy at Home Depot for $12.99. We overpay for everything. Maybe they could get it from their partners in Big Pharma. I know they want to pretend that Republicans are the friends of Big Pharma, but let's be real. Who does Pfizer control? Joe Biden, the Biden administration. It's time for a divorce. It's time for a leader like Ron DeSantis. It's time to get back to Trump-era policies, policies that put America first and Americans first. And by that, I mean every person who lives legally inside this border. All of you deserve to get your money back when the states can't use it. We don't need to find special earmarks to build a trail for Michelle Obama and name it after her. What does that do for you when you have to go, fill up your car and gas, drive to work for a job that they don't really care about you? It's a job. It's not a career most of the time. And then they tax you on top of that, and then tax you on your gas, tax you on your food, tax you on your property, tax you on everything you own, and then never give that money back when they have more. They find another project like a trail to build. This is not the way to live life. Stop falling for the wokeness. Stop falling for the lies of the left. It's tiresome. I agree with Marjorie Taylor Greene on this. And I agree with the conservatives because they are the people as well. And they have every right to stand up and call Joe Biden a liar, no matter when. That's our right. That's freedom of speech. You're allowed to throw shoes at George Bush if you want. You're allowed to sit and say all the horrible things you do about Donald Trump. But when it comes down to policy, Donald Trump was right. We are living in a swamp, and it's time to drain that swamp. And if you don't want to hang with us, you don't want to make this country first and put this country first, then go to Canada, and Justin Trudeau will take away all your freedoms, will take away all your money, and put you in a socialist society where you'll beg for 3 months to get a doctor's appointment. Good luck to you. Don't forget, please like and subscribe right here on our YouTube channel. Follow me every Tuesday and Thursday right here on the Xtra 106.3, and listen every single day to the Morning Extra with myself, the great Tug Cowart, and the unbelievable Carlos Front Office Los Medina, who will bring you some of the things that you won't believe, especially when it comes to the pandemic. We need to get in front of this. We need to fight them before they throw out all their lies. We need to be ahead of this. Don't be afraid to be a conservative. Don't be afraid to love this country. Don't be afraid to listen to Xtra 106.3. Don't be afraid to share. Share your opinions. You have the right. You have the freedom of speech. Use it, because we need you. This has been the Rhino Conspiracy.